What's up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of the Three Cone Podcast. I'm Riley Bymaster here with my fellow co-hosts Matt Foreman and Brett LeBrock. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm pretty good. How are you, Matt?
Trying not to get hit by a hurricane, but other than that, I'm doing fine.
Yeah, other than that, in other news.
And he's still recording. What a champ.
You guys ready for some ball this week?
Listen, I cannot wait for regular season to start. I've been trying to sim it in Madden. It's just not working.
When you sim it in Madden, how many games did the Bills win?
16-0, and we go to the Super Bowl, and then we blow it.
You did a fantasy draft, right?
No, I just make a ton of trades.
Oh, a ton of trades. All right. Yeah, so we'll jump right into it. This week there were a lot of cut downs, a lot of trades as NFL teams cut their rosters down to 52 guys. A lot of notable names were either cut or traded. We're just going to go through these real quick and get some thoughts from both you guys on each player. First off, we're going to go to Joe Williams, who took a very quick rise and an even quicker fall. What do you guys think on the Joe Williams cut?
I mean, he's on the IR now, so it's not like it's a cut, but
it's my bad.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the IR, so I mean, he's not playing. I mean, all the reports coming out of there is that Carlos Williams is been balling out, or Carlos Hyde's been balling out, and so I mean, I think he's a good stash. I do think people are really going to forget about him come middle of the season, so you might be able to get him on the cheap because Carlos Hyde is in his last year of his contract. And, I mean, he was handpicked by that regime. And we all know the Shanahans really like to pick their running backs, and he's going to be there for a while. So
You also got to worry about Matt Breida there, too. I mean, he's probably going to be the handcuff for Hyde this year, so another rookie as well there.
Yeah, and I could very, very much see a situation where they draft a running back highly in 2018. And Joe Williams just kind of slides under the table. But we'll see. Obviously, he's not doing anything this year. He's only a fourth-round pick. So maybe we all read too much into the Shanahan standing on a table for him.
The hype train was real.
It was real for about a month. All right, so we'll jump real quick to our next guy, Matt Jones. Now, he was actually cut by the Redskins, and the Colts claimed him off waivers. Does this do anything for Matt Jones at all this season?
No.
I think it just muddies the backfield for Marlon Mack.
Yeah. I mean,
see, I like the spot for Jones. I think, when Gore gets hurt, I know we say that every year, but if Gore gets hurt this year, I think it could be a timeshare between Marlon Mack and Matt Jones.
Gore's the most reliable back in the league. He hasn't missed a game in 9 years.
He's 40 though.
So there's three things that are surviving the eventual nuclear downfall of our world, and they are as followed: Frank Gore, James Harrison, and Twinkies.
And cockroaches.
Four things. Those dudes do not age. Frank Gore is radioactive resistant.
I got to tell you, that's the first time I've ever heard that, especially with the Twinkies. All right, so Matt Jones, possibly could see some field this year, but most likely just has to see the cards fall his way. Jonathan Williams was probably the cut closest to home here at the Three Cone. Brett's shedding a tear. We'll go to Brett first on this one. What are your thoughts on your Bills cutting a very good player?
I don't understand it. When he got cut, the first thing coming to my mind is he's got to have a suspension or something coming, because he I know everybody's been paying attention. It was he was balling out. When I watched the games, he was balling out. He was running people over, hitting his holes, making quick decisions, making the right cutbacks. He looked really, really good. I honestly think this is just a straight tank move by my Bills, even though it hits close to home, because I really liked him, because now we're left with like Joe Banyard in our backfield backing up Shady. So I don't know. I honestly they also paid him like what was it, like 500,000 to be on the practice squad, which means he's gonna come up. I think he's gonna be added to the active roster real quick.
He's in Denver. Denver paid him 510 grand.
Yeah,
to sign with their squad. So
you don't pay that for practice squad.
Right. I think they paid a premium just so they could grab him for sure.
Is that Jamal Charles insurance, perhaps?
100%. I don't think Charles makes it past week 8.
I don't even know if it's Jamal Charles insurance though, because he doesn't play like Jamal Charles. If anything, he plays like C.J. Anderson.
No,
yeah,
I think
Charles is gonna. I mean, Charles's knees are 3 years old, 3 years past their prime. So
yeah, literally just a body insurance guy.
Especially with Booker still on the mend, Henderson on. Was he on IR or PUP?
I'm not.
I think Henderson's on. I don't quote me on this, but I think Henderson's IR, and I'm pretty sure Booker's on PUP.
See, I'm not even a fan of Henderson. Like, even if he's healthy, I don't see him contributing that much. I know he had a great preseason, but keep in mind he was probably playing against second and third string guys. I think C.J. Anderson's still the back to own in Denver. I like Devontae Booker as a cheap stash, and I definitely like Jonathan Williams if you can get him for close to free. But I think the bottom line is the Bills are having a sword fight with the Jets for the number 1 overall pick. And we will see who, quote unquote, wins that battle
this Sunday.
In a few months.
This Sunday, Bills Mafia is going to be real.
Yeah. So next guy we're going to go to is Sammy Coates, traded from the Steelers to the Browns. And I'll admit the first thought I had was, I was kind of shocked that the Steelers actually had luck trading Sammy Coates because I have never been able to in a league where I owned him. Does this do anything for Coates' value in the future?
No.
I agree. There's not much.
Did he have a hand transplant?
Hey, he said he was playing with 2 broken fingers. He said he was playing with 2 broken fingers last season.
With 2 broken fingers in all of college, too?
Probably not.
I mean, I think there's a little bit of value, but he's also got a upward battle there.
I mean, just because you're free doesn't mean you're a value.
Yeah, true. I mean, he does. I think he's going to get more opportunity than would in Pittsburgh, but I still don't think it's going to be that much. I mean, he's a low stash for me. Like, if I can get him for like a 5th or a 4th, I'd probably do it.
See, I'd honestly rather have the 4th or 5th round pick. I don't even want Coates I don't want him at all. It's as simple as that.
Maybe not a 4th. I'd do a 5th though. I'd take the shot. I like to gamble though.
All right. I mean, that's not too bad. I can't fault you for it. We're going to go to our next guy this one actually, somewhat shocked me. Philip Dorsett traded from the Colts to the Patriots in exchange for third-string quarterback Jacoby Brissett. Does this change Dorsett's value at all? Does it hurt it?
No.
Did he have value?
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, the guy was behind Kamar Aiken in a bad wide receiver corps.
Yeah, in that undrafted rookie. I forget his name.
Chester Rogers?
Yeah, he's behind Chester Rogers, too. I honestly think that, it's better of a football trade for New England than it is for a fantasy trade. They get a field stretcher. That's awesome, but doesn't do anything for Brissett in my eyes for fantasy unless you're playing in, a super flex league that's super deep and Luck's going to miss 6 games. But other than that.
Yeah, I think this was can you call it a win-win for both teams? I don't know. I mean, I think it benefits both teams. I
don't really see how it benefits either team, to be completely honest with you.
Scott Tolzien is trash. Garbage.
I think it gives kind of a flyer to each teams, and I think both needed that depth at each position that they acquired.
Did New England really need another wide receiver?
I agree. You never know. I think they needed a field stretcher.
But is he going to play on Sunday? He probably won't even dress on Sundays.
Oh no, he'll be inactive for the first half of the season.
Because you're going to have Cooks, You're going to have Amendola. You're going to have Hogan. You're going to have Mitchell. You're going to have Matt Slater. They're not dressing 6 receivers. I mean, he's just going to be on the 53-man roster, but he's not going to be on the Sunday roster. I mean, so
he's going to blow up one game in the playoffs like Michael Floyd, sit the Super Bowl, and win a ring.
I wouldn't doubt it. At least, yeah, I think Dorsett's the winner because he likely gets a Super Bowl ring after this year.
He's at least winning an AFC championship.
That's true. So we'll jump to our last guy here, Jeremy McNichols, another Dynasty Twitter beloved player for some reason, and didn't even make it to week 1. He was cut and signed with the 49ers practice squad. Does he have any value at all?
I mean, he's probably a buy right now because you can't sell him for anything right now.
Yeah, he might even be out there waiver wire in the next couple of days. I don't know. I watch Hard Knocks, and the only thing he could do was nothing. Sit there and talk to the camera. That's what he could do. Couldn't pass block, couldn't catch, which he was like billed for. Everybody was like, he's a great pass catcher. Like he was dropping balls all over the place. And I got burned on him because I took him in like the end of the 2nd round because I believed the hype in one draft. Burned.
Yeah. I took him in the 2nd round in a draft too to try and diversify a little bit, but that's what happens with those early second. It happens with the 2nd round picks. I mean, you're going to miss on some, you're going to hit on some. You just got to take your chances.
Yeah, and he was actually I'm going to humble brag for a second. That was a kind of a win for me. I was never a McNichols fan. He was in a void, and I mean, it's never nice to see a guy lose his job, but it's good to see that you're right on a few of them. But I think we can all agree that he pretty much has no value right now unless all of the San Francisco running backs get hurt, which is a possibility with Carlos Hyde.
Or if you can trade him to Matt Kelly.
Oh, or you can trade him to somebody who really likes him. So that's going to take us to the end of our news and notes for this week. Now we're going to head to kind of the main subject for this week's pod. Haven't heard anybody else do this, so if you have, we apologize. But we're going to do a first-round rookie recap.
I never apologize for anything. I don't care.
That's true. You're a Bills fan. We're gonna kind of go through our top 12, and for some reason, if you have a rookie draft today, use it. But if not, this is just kind of gauge value on the top 12 rookies right now. So we're just going to do this as a basic draft style. Brett, you're going to pick first, Matt second, and myself third, and then Brett 4, Matt 5, and so on and so forth until we round out the top 12.
Picking like the Bills is coming here. First like overall.
So if you guys are good to go, Brett, go ahead and lead us off with your first guy and just kind of give a sentence or two about why he's there at value for you.
Okay, so if anybody follows me on Twitter already, during the off season, like before the combine, after the combine, and then after the draft, I list out like my top rookies and where I would take them. So my top one hasn't changed. It's going to be controversial because everybody's obsessed with drafting wide receivers first overall, but I'm sticking to my guns. I'm taking Dalvin Cook at 101. I think he's the complete back. I think he landed in a pretty decent spot. Latavius Murray's a plotter. He doesn't do anything. He can run really well. He's got quick cutbacks, great vision, lower body strength, breakaway speed, catches the ball out of the backfield. He's everything you want in a feature back, and he's still young.
I like it. I would have done the same thing. Cook was actually still my number one. So it's good. It's good to see that somebody else is still really high on Cook and was all the way through. That takes us number 2 to Matt, who rightfully is not a Bills fan, a Rams fan. So this is somewhat realistic.
Just as much tension and disappointment.
I will not be taking Greg Robinson again, though. I can guarantee you that. I'm gonna stick with the traditional pick and take Corey Davis here. I just think the value is too high here. I don't know if he has overall wide receiver 1 potential, but I think he has a lot of room to grow in that Titans offense. I think that's going to be a formidable offense for a couple years to come here with Derrick Henry, Mariota, Davis, Taywan Taylor's been playing well this offseason. I mean, the preseason. And even Jonnu Smith's been playing pretty well too. So, I mean, I think that's a nice young offense that could see definitely some room for even more growth. I know the problem. I mean, I think Davis is probably a buy throughout the come mid-season because he probably doesn't have much rapport with Mariota because he hasn't played all this preseason. But it seems like he probably won't be running 2 wide receiver sets to start the season with. But I mean, Decker's on the wrong side of 30. Rashard Matthews has never been a wide receiver 1, so I think the opportunity is too high for him there not to succeed in that offense. So, I mean, I'm sticking with Davis at 2.
I mean, that's like the traditional. Like obviously, like if he falls you at 2, like you're praising whatever God you worship. I like it a lot. I do think that as Mariota matures, they're going to transfer it from a run-heavy offense to probably a pass-heavy in the next couple of years. So I like that pick. What'd you say?
Exotic smash mouth.
Exotic smash mouth, yeah. So I like that pick. I mean, you can't really go wrong there at 2.
I like it. So that takes it to myself at number 3. There's really only one guy here that I would take at 3, and his name is Christian McCaffrey. I really like how they're going to use him. Or at least I liked him. I liked how they used him in this preseason. He did run between the tackles, and he did it well. So I'm excited to see him actually run the ball as well as be involved in the pass game. I think he's going to have a really nice floor in DPR leagues, a solid 9 to 10 points a game. I'm liking him at 3. He's going to be a solid running back 2 for my team for the next 6 or 7 years.
I worry about his size. That's my concern with him. I thought his 2 big comps coming out of college were Abdullah and Dion Lewis, and I just worry about his size, him holding up for a 16-game schedule. That's my concern with McCaffrey.
I think he's bulkier than people think. I don't know. I never had concerns about his size. I think he's.
I'm a little weary on his size.
I think he's a stronger runner than he's given credit for. Obviously he's not a dump truck like, Garrett Blunt or anybody, Frank Gore,
Jonathan Stewart next to him.
I mean that's not really his game though. He's not going to run over people.
I think he opens up that offense. I mean he's not in my top 3, but I think he opens up that offense. I do worry about his size a little bit. I'm ecstatic about his pass catching ability. They just came out and said that there's like the offensive playbook, and then there's a separate playbook for like McCaffrey down there in Carolina. So that's kind of cool to hear. Like that would excite me if I owned him. I just don't, because I think there's running backs that like do a better job running the ball and are good pass catchers than like a dynamic player with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, I like that. Brett, while you're going, you might as well go ahead and name your guy at number 4.
If he drops to me here at 4, I'm taking Fournette, even with the foot concerns. I know the foot and the ankle injuries and all that are a huge concern. I was very concerned about them when he was coming out of college. But, listen, here's a guy who they are going to feed the rock in Jacksonville. Everybody knows nobody wants Blake Bortles to have that ball in his hands for more than half a second. Nobody wants Chad Henne to have the ball in his hand half a second. He's going to get fed early as a rookie. He's powerful. He's the best balance of size and speed I've seen years. Dude's massive, and he runs like crazy. And we all were knocking him for being a bad pass catcher, but all the reports come out of camp and everything is that he's been way better than everybody thought he was. If he's a true 3-down back or develops into one, I really like him, even with the foot concerns.
Yeah, it's fair. I think 4 is definitely solid value for him. Matt, you are up at 105.
So I think the obvious pick here is obviously Joe Mixon. I have him as my 3rd player behind Fournette and Davis, to be completely honest with you. I think he offers the most upside of any player in this draft, I think, bar none. I think he's the closest player we've seen to Le'Veon Bell in the NFL. I think he's such a smooth runner. His pass catching ability is right up there with McCaffrey. I think his opportunity is great there with Hill being a free agent after the year, Gio coming off injury. We don't know what he's going to be like. Probably a lesser offense with the Bengals losing 2 linemen, AJ Green's health concerns. But, I mean, they brought John Ross in, too, to help stretch the field. So I really like Mixon. I think he's a good player. A lot of people that were talking down on him were talking about same thing with Deonta Foreman about he was playing against Big 12 defenses. But I just really love the way he runs the football and the way he plays the game. I think he's a really good player. I'm not worried about the off the field concern issues as much. They are what they are. I think the issues with Zeke are worse than what they are with Mixon, because at least with Mixon it was a one-time thing. With Zeke it's a pathological thing, it seems like. So I'm not too concerned with that.
Yeah, I got you. And real quick before we get to my pick here at 106, out of the top 5 guys, out of Dalvin Cook, Davis, McCaffrey, Fournette, and Mixon, if you had to pick one guy who you'd say the chances of them busting are the highest, who was your guy to bust?
Oh God,
you gotta pick one.
I think it's Fournette. I think the foot concern is real. I think the hype with him has been huge ever since he was in high school. I mean, I remember him watching him on a Friday night football game, and I was amazed like how big this guy was. I mean, he looked like a 25-year-old in high school. I mean, he looks like a grown man. And I just, the foot concern issues me. The offense concerns me. His 3-down ability concerns me. I just don't. I'm worried about all the tools he has and the atmosphere he's in, and the foot concerns are definitely an issue for someone who's a skill position player.
I'm worried about McCaffrey, to be honest. Out of those top 5s, like I get the Fournette worry, but I get worried that McCaffrey is gonna like go crazy his first couple of years, returning kicks, punts, like catching out of the backfield, a la Reggie Bush in New Orleans, and then kind of just teeter off into nothing. With like, I just can't see him taking a massive hit like from James Harrison or something and being able to pick himself back up, dust himself off, and get right back in the backfield.
Yeah, I got you. I think my guy would also be Fournette. I'm just worried about, the foot issues, and I don't think he's a 3-down back. But we'll see. And very well may be that none of the top 5 busts. They're all great players and for the most part landed in good spots. So with that, I'll say my 106, kind of a guy who's seen a little bit of boost in value over the last week and a half or so, Kareem Hunt. Spencer Ware going down for the year. Hunt's going to be the guy this year. He's going to all of Andy Reid's targets out of the backfield. Reid loves to beat his backs. I'm excited to see him officially be the bell cow. And I liked him coming out of Toledo. I had him as a late first before the Ware injury, and now I'm very comfortable taking him at 106.
Yeah, I mean, he's my 6th overall as well. I think he's a beast. I think he can do everything. You don't trade up to get somebody if you're not going to use them. And I just think he can do it all. His preseason really impressed me. There was a couple of games and a couple plays that he impressed me a lot. And we'll see what happens tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, so with that, Brett, you are back up at 107.
At 107, I'm going to take a man whose value has dropped immensely over the past couple months. Mike Williams. I understand the neck injury, all that stuff concerns me a ton, but I just think that his upside here is too great to ignore. He's got jump ball ability. He's a good player. He showed that he can play at the highest level in college against NFL competition. So I don't really think there's that much more to say. His value's dropped a ton, but I think at 107 the value's there.
Yep, I agree. I like that. Matt?
My 107 as well, too.
Solid. Matt, you're up at 108.
I'm going to go a little probably unconventional here, and I'm going to go with Evan Ingram here. I think he has the highest upside of all of the tight ends in this draft, just because I like the offense he's in. I think that after this year, obviously Marshall's there, Sterling Shepard's there, obviously Odell Beckham Jr. is there, but I think he offers I think I have more concerns with Howard than I have with positives with Ingram. My concerns with Howard are the same ones he had in college. If he's going to be used too much as a blocker, I don't know if Howard is Gronk. I don't know if he can still produce with being an inline blocker like that. I think Ingram's going to play. He's basically going to play a big slot role, and I think he's going to see the ball a lot more. He's definitely a huge red zone threat. So I think he has more opportunity. I don't know if he'll be on the field as much as Howard, but I see his routes being more than what Howard offers. So I'm going with upside play here over maybe a little better football player.
I love it. I have him at 109, so one pick later, but I also have him ahead of every other tight end, and the same concerns for Howard, and basically the same boosts for Ingram. They've been moving him everywhere in the formation. They said that they're splitting him out wide, they're lining him up in the slot, they're using him inline, they're lining him up at H-back. Like this, he's doing it all. They're literally just trying to find ways for him to get the ball. And when you're a tight end at like 6 foot, whatever he is, and run a 4.37, 40-yard dash,
a 4.42,
a 4.42. Good luck trying to match him up in the middle of the field to any linebacker. It's going to be impossible.
Yep, I like that, and that takes it to me at 109, and I'm very, very easily going Alvin Kamara. I think he will feast this year as the third down back in New Orleans. He's fast, he catches well, and he's got a little bit of power. I'm all about the Kamara love in New Orleans, and getting him at 109. He was my 107. He was right behind Hunt for me. So 109 feels like a pretty good value.
I can't really argue that. I like that pick.
Cool. And we'll just kind of roll pretty quick through our last three here. So, Brett, who is your 110?
Oh, I'm not rolling quickly through this one. At 110,
I know it is.
My boy, Zay Jones falls to me. Listen, Zay Jones is good with like a million O's in there and like a million D's, like a 16-year-old white girl. Like, this dude balls out. So, obviously, as y'all know by now, I'm a huge Bills fan. Bills Mafia, baby. They have been saying the best things about this man, and he has looked so good in training camp. He is one of the best route runners I've seen in a while. He's got great hands. He doesn't really have like breakaway speed, but he still runs like a 4.52, which is good enough for me. He's going to get a ton of targets here, no matter if it's this year, the year after. This regime really likes him. We traded up to get him. I just think that he is a complete wide receiver, and he's going to get a lot of opportunity to see the ball. And I think he's a sneaky rookie of the year candidate.
Oh, so many
things. I agree with everything. I agreed with most of the things you said until you said rookie of the year candidate.
I said sneaky.
Yeah, I don't see it there.
If he gets the ball, let me hope, okay? Give me dreams.
The only thing that I somewhat agree with is the 16-year-old white girl comment. That's about it. I don't think Zay Jones
too. I'll give you that.
He's a decent route runner. The only plus that I really had on him was he has very soft hands. He's a natural pass catcher. But other than that, like, I don't think he can separate. I don't think his field speed is what he ran at the combine. I don't think he can get off press very well.
There's other wide receivers who said that, though. There's other wide receivers that people have said that they can't get off coverage, and they still succeed in this league. Allen Robinson is one of them. We can go with
Landry. Robinson is a freak. He is long and he's huge and he's
high points the ball like no one else.
Yeah, but Zay Jones is a different type of receiver than him, but he still succeeds in other ways. Like,
I'm worried about Zay Jones' ability to play on the outside, unless they're going to put Matthews on the outside.
I think you're going to see a lot of them going back and forth.
I don't know, but we'll see. I guess we'll see this year. I really doubt he's going to be rookie of the year, but you never know. Maybe that'll be the only bright spot for the Bills this year. So Zay Jones goes at 10. Matt, who are you taking at 111?
Well, after I just said some negative things about him, I'm going to take O.J. Howard at 11 here. I had him right behind Ingram. I think the tight end class here this year is definitely something that we need to look at. I had actually all the tight ends above any of the wide receivers. I think this is a big tight end class because I think they could be game changers. I mean, they're not your typical they're not George Kittle. They're not just going to be good blockers who are going to maybe catch 40 balls. I think that these are game-changing tight ends. I think, yes, Howard's year one job is going to be to block. I think Cameron Brate's going to be more in that that move tight end role. But I think that Howard obviously does have the skills, as we've seen in the last two national championship games, to go out and produce. We haven't really seen it too much, but I think the same thing I said with Ingram, that offense is, or the same thing I said with Davis, that offense is just going to be mind-boggling if they all can stay healthy and they all can stay together with Winston, whatever running back they have out there, whether it's Martin, Jaquiz, the ghost of Charles Sims. You got Mike Evans, Godwin, Deshaun Jackson. I think there's a lot of good in the offense there. So I think he's a value at 11, to be completely honest with you. I think he's probably going to most drafts at probably 107, but 107 to 109. So I'd be more than happy to take him at 111.
Yeah, I completely get that. And I'm just going to jump into my 112 because the guy who I'm getting here at 12, I actually have 2 spots higher than Howard. And that guy, you just mentioned him, is David Njoku. I'm really buying into Cleveland to their offense. I think Kaiser is the answer.
Yeah, we knew that.
At me, feel free. But
there's also a Notre Dame poster hanging up in his background
as we speak.
I don't even care. It's a band, and it's got all 12 national championships. Given that the last one was 10 years before I was born.
Yes,
but whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, so I think Kaiser and Njoku, they can get a real thing going from day one. I think they could both grow together, and Njoku could be what Eric Ebron was supposed to be back in 2014, the athletic freak at tight end. But I'm looking forward to seeing all these guys on the field. Was there anybody in you guys' top 12 who did not get picked?
I think probably the biggest one, probably people think we missed off, is probably John Ross.
Ross wasn't even in my top 12.
I got him at 12, and I had a huge debate in my mind of John Ross at 12 or Cooper Kupp at 12, who I also think is a really solid PPR wide receiver.
No, Brad, I have a question for you. Coming from a Rams fan to a Bills fan, what's the difference between Cooper Kupp and Zay Jones?
I think Zay Jones is a little bit more physically gifted with his size.
Oh, I disagree. I think Kupp, I think his contested catches are more impressive. I think he's got stronger hands, and I think he attacks the ball a little better than Zay Jones does.
We'll see. I honestly think that both of them are Rookie of the Year candidates.
No,
no,
Brett. I do. All right, at me, bro.
So you think who do you think could win Rookie of the Year? And you have to pick one. Dalvin Cook or Zay Jones? Yeah.
Oh, it's Dalvin Cook. But what I'm saying is, I said they have sneaky ability. Like Rookie of the Year, lasts on anything. Think about it. You could have a rookie who's crazy good, but Fournette goes down. Okay, maybe if Fournette goes down and Cooper Kupp catches 80 balls, what do you think? I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility.
Okay, well, I mean, anything's possible. So yeah, but
not anything.
We're just. Oh, all right. We'll head to our next topic, and we're just going to go through real quick, and each of us is going to name a player that you think everyone should try and acquire before he blows up this year. So if you guys have one, just go ahead and blurt it out, say a few things
you can
about
go
him.
first, Riley.
All right, I'll head up first. The guy I think that you should definitely go out and try and get is DeAndre Washington. I don't think Lynch is going to last all 16 games, and I don't think Jalen Richard is really the guy for third down role this year. I think Washington, it's very possible that he has a Devonta Freeman-like breakout in his second year, just like Freeman did a couple years ago. So if you can get Washington for a couple thirds, if you can get him for 2/3, I would pull the trigger on that immediately.
You got one, Matt?
Sticking with the rookies, probably a little bit of homer pick here, but I love the way Gerald Everett's been playing in the preseason this year. I think like you guys are talking about hand-picked players. I think he was hand-picked by McVay to do that Jordan Reed role. I think he is an athletic specimen. I'm worried about his role in the offense to begin with, but I think he has the upside. I thought about putting him in my top 12, but that's a lot. That's a lot riding on him. I think he probably needs a little bit of seasoning, but he just looks so athletic. He looks like a wide receiver out there. I think he has I really like the option of them playing a little more 12 sets with him and Higbee on the field. I just worry about his market share of the targets this year. But I think if you can I've seen him going in the late third of rookie drafts. So if you can get him there, that's a huge deal. I know people are talking about him going in the early second in rookie drafts, but especially in tight end premium leagues, I think he's a huge buy.
Yeah. So would it be bold to say that I think that Tyler Higbee outscores Everett this year? Is that
no? I don't think
it's bold now because I think everybody's starting to hop on the Everett train.
No, I like Higbee this year. I think in redraft, I think Higbee's the guy this year.
Oh, he's a great late round flyer.
Higbee?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And especially in redraft, because I could very easily see him scoring, 5 or 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
All right, Brett, you got one for us?
Yeah, Duke Johnson for the Cleveland Browns. Especially if we're talking PPR, which we're always talking on this podcast. 50 catches in the last 3 years. He's a true PPR running back. If you're going zero running back style, he's who you want. He's shown flashes on the ground through the air. If we're jumping on this Kaiser train, which I kind of am now a little bit, I think that it was true. He's good. He's better than I thought he was going to be. I think it helps Duke Johnson. I think Isaiah Correll being good helps Duke Johnson. I think them actually establishing wide receivers like Corey Coleman, getting David Njoku, it all just opens it up. What Duke Johnson does is catch the ball underneath, take it for 10 yards. That's all he needs to do for me in a PPR league if I need him to fill in or if I'm starting him as like a low-end running back too. And I think he can be had for pretty cheap because everybody are still like, it's the Browns, and they don't really understand how many balls he catches.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I've got him in a couple places. And, hopefully he sees another, 50 to 60 targets this year.
I think he's a really good game script player, kind of like the way the Patriots used like Deion Lewis and James White last year. The Browns are going to be playing from behind probably a good bit, so they were talking about him playing in the slot a bunch this year too. So I think he's a really good play for maybe even for some DFS leagues. I know there's a lot of us out there that play multiple types of fantasy leagues, but I think he's a really good play for that. And I think he might even be a flex play you can use during bye weeks. I probably wouldn't have him as a every week starter, but I don't see him anything more than a flex play. But
would you give up a second for him though? I'm inclined to say I'm on the border of giving up a second for him.
Oh, I would give up a second for him for sure.
I probably would, but
the value's there. And if Corral goes down, he becomes the one.
Yeah, if Corral goes down, I think he has.
This is a Theo Riddick. This is literally
stealing.
This is the Browns version of Amir Abdul and Theo Riddick.
Yeah, I like that comparison. With that, it's going to take us to our last segment. It's not really a game. It's just more of a who sucks worse. So we're going to talk about some of the worst transactions that we have ever made. It can be trades, ads, drops, trades that you declined, anything that goes. And at the end, we will decide who is the worst one, and will be deemed the quote winner. This is kind of a free for all. So go at it, and let's see who's got the worst transaction.
I've only got one real bad one that I want to read.
All right, hit it.
Oh, God. Okay, you got to understand, this is when the hype train was real. I gave up Jordy Nelson for Dorial Green Beckham and a second-round pick.
That's rough. I mean, do you know who you got with the second?
I probably traded it away. I don't really hold on to picks that long in this league. I'm a big proponent of flipping picks for young players who I think are going to blow up and then flipping them. So, but it was bad. Looking back at it, like I was scrolling through old trades and I saw that and I was like, I literally hate myself. Hold my Bills gear while I jump off my balcony.
All right, I'll go ahead and jump in with one. In a startup draft, I selected Riley Cooper before Allen Robinson, Jeremy Hill, and Dante Moncrief. So let me explain. Let me explain.
Oh God!
Was this a PPRR point per racist remark?
All right, that was actually pretty funny. I don't know if you just came up with that, but that was slick.
You've been sitting on that one for like years, just waiting for somebody to say something.
That was clever. I like that. No, it was unfortunately just a regular PPR. I really thought that he was going to bust out with Philly. I didn't know he was going to bust out some racist comments. I thought he was going to bust out in games. So that one hurt almost immediately. It still sucks talking about it, but it is what it is. So that one's not good.
It's pretty bad.
Matt, you got one?
So mine is more of what I thought was just a small part of the trade, and it turned out to be what I thought was a lot more. So let me frame this up here. So I was trying to trade up to the number one pick in one of my home leagues. So I was trying to acquiring the 5th pick and the 8th pick, and I was going to trade the 5th and the 8th pick to go up to 1 to draft Gurley. So I had already acquired the 8th pick for DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews straight up, which was a great trade. But so I was moving Jeremy Hill after his rookie year, and I moved Jeremy Hill for the number 5 pick, Sammy Watkins, and the guy told me I could pick a throw-in player, and the 2 throw-in players I had to decide from were either Devonta Freeman or Trey Mason. So my thought process was, I'm not too big on Freeman. I don't know what's going on. Let me grab Mason as Gurley's handcuff, and that turned out to be a massive mistake.
You don't say.
It's not even that bad of like a trade though. Like just
it wasn't a
bad trade.
It's just bad on your part.
On the trade.
Yeah, you as the kids say, y'all screwed up now. I was gonna swear, but then I remembered I can't swear on here. So
we just don't like to edit. We like to keep things simple.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not a bad trade, but it's definitely one that stings after just knowing what could have been if you'd have asked for Freeman instead of Mason.
I got one that's not like an awful trade, but it just hurts me because I really like the player I traded away. Now, I traded away Ty Montgomery for a second, and like that's not that bad, but I think Tymo is worth I think he's gonna blow up in Green Bay. So that's just kind of like if I watch this season and I just watch him blow up, I'm gonna be like, oh God, why?
I mean, I just moved him for an 18 first in a start 1 RB league, so
I hate you.
Well, that trade's gonna be like gold with the last one I'm gonna give. This is a true story. This is actually the same year that I took Riley Cooper. I traded away Lamar Miller, and I received Marcus Wheaton.
Ooh.
Now,
you should be banned from fantasy for life.
It was well. I've had my fair share of good ones too, but this was not. This was the far left. I thought Wheaton was going to be the number 2. All the blurbs coming out, they're saying he looked great opposite Antonio Brown. I was like, I'm buying into it. No, that didn't really work out.
But now he's fizzling out in Chicago.
He's the number 2 receiver now in Chicago.
False. I don't think so.
After literally the movie Saw went through their locker room and everybody's losing limbs.
No, I think Kevin White, Kendall Wright, and well, I guess I'd say it's the 3. I don't think he's the 2. But I mean, like before, I think Howard's going to see targets before him. I think Zach Miller's going to see targets before him.
I think Jordan Howard's a steaming pile of garbage.
I agree. I'm not a fan of Howard. I would sell him.
I think he's a big time sell.
I didn't even like him coming out. Like I took Paul Perkins ahead of Howard in multiple leagues because I like Perkins as a better talent. And I mean, obviously Perkins isn't looking like, David Johnson or anything.
Oh, thanks for admitting it, Riley. Stop trying to trade him to me.
Hey, I'm blowing it up in that league, bro. I just want picks.
I mean, the Giants line is just not good at all. The Eric Flowers experiment is about over.
What's worse, the Giants' offensive line or the Bears' receivers?
The Giants' offensive line.
Oh, that's bold. That's a bold prediction. Oh, my gosh.
So Flowers, Justin Pugh, Winston Richburg. I can't even name the other 2 guys because they're
Pugh is the noise that I make when I look at their offensive line.
Yeah.
Got you.
It's no, Eric Flowers, isn't he one? They took him like 10th overall.
9th overall. I was so mad I was so mad because the Rams are picking right after him, and I was so mad they took Flowers.
I honestly thought that you pronounced his name Erect. Erect. Like, so close to erect. Like that's a terrible name.
Naming my child a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So I guess that's a decent place to stop tonight.
So who won the worst trade?
Yeah, who won the worst? I don't know. I feel like I had a couple bad ones.
I'm gonna go with Riley taking Riley.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one too. Even though my Jordy Nelson one was bad, at least I still got a second out of it.
Yeah.
Dude, I got Marcus Wheaton. I'm pretty sure I cut Wheaton like 6 weeks later. But
God.
I mean, I'm not really psyched to win that, but it's fun looking back on it now, since that's literally my worst dynasty team. I have 5, and that is by far the worst one. So that'll wrap it up for us this week. You can follow the podcast account at the 3 Cone Pod on Twitter. Be sure to leave us a rate and review. Let us know how we're doing. Also, let us know, if you want us to talk about a certain player, a certain topic. Throw it on there. You can email us, the 3 Cone Podcast at gmail.com. Follow all 3 of us on Twitter. You can follow Matt at Fat Mormon, Brett at Dynasty Brett, and follow myself at DTC_Riley B. See you guys next week and enjoy week 1.
Doodles.